lovely Debbie Boone joins us here. I mean, I'm sure you've talked about this a zillion times, what the song You Light Up My Life meant to you and your career, and kind of where it stands in your heart today.
Well, when I first heard it, I knew it was a good song. I wasn't excited by it, but I just thought, if somebody wants me to go into a recording studio and sing Happy Birthday, I'll do it.
The lovely Debbie Boone, the song You Light Up My Life. It's one of those songs that, well, at least for some period of time, I think in virtually every human being, no matter what language they speak, that it was in their head for a period of time. To the point where everybody walked around with that You Light Up My Life on their mind, right? Which has to be a sensational tribute and distinction for anybody that's in the music business.
Well, for the most part, yes. And I am very, very grateful. But a few people did want to break that vinyl over my head.
Here's your record, Debbie. I'm using it as a Frisbee. What are you talking about?
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
On a beautiful Thursday, welcome to the show, the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz. Very Natalie attired, Mike Lubie, Lubitz today. You look good, kid. How you doing, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, on this fine Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge Thursday?
I am doing well. Happy as we inch closer to the weekend and to the tournament, even though it was a tough night for our local.
2 weeks away. It starts in 2 weeks.
Yes, today. From 2 weeks from today. And you'll be in AC. How are you doing, Mr. AC?
I'm doing great. I feel really good. I've had 3 good days in a row with, a little bit of double barrel action in terms of recreational activity. The walk of life, of course, is a given every day. Very rare. I would say if I missed 3 days in the last couple of years, that would be a big number. I would go under 4 on that, under 4 and a hook on number of missed days, 2 years walk of life. So that's keeping me going. And then I've been able to get out on the tennis courts. I want to thank my friend Greg, who is the tennis pro and runs the Lighthouse Point Tennis Center. Invited me up, Lubie. He was a fan of the show. He knew I liked the game a little bit. And he said, it'd be great. Why don't you come up? We'll hit some balls together.
Nice.
Which is a whole different thing than playing sets against your 70-year-old friends. And so Greg Musette, I thank you very much. It was a wonderful session last night. And then I combine that. And this is gambling gourmet type of material here, Mike Mayo, and he loves this place, I believe, almost as much as I do. Maybe as much. I don't know. I mean, how do you measure different levels of love that people have for a certain thing or a place or whatever? But the Cafe Seville, Joey Esposito, who is on fire, my friend, when it comes to his gambling endeavors. Now he's stepped it up a notch, if you know what I mean. Like he was always, into it, but now he's involved with like syndicates and this and that. And syndicates not necessarily in horse racing.
Syndicates.
No, but I mean, it's not a bad thing. I mean, you're talking about, getting 4 guys together and trying to take down giant jackpots. In other words, as we say, safari hats on. We're going big game hunting today. Never mind trying to hit some $19.80 exacta and maybe having it for $5. Yeah, I got back almost 50 on that, Joe. How about that, right? Which is going up in smoke in the very next race, especially if you're a screen-to-screen bettor like I am. For the uninitiated, there's a race going off somewhere at, any number of 8 tracks, let's say, that are running on any given day at the same time. And I'm betting all of them, every single one. It's funny, Lubie, a long time ago, and I've mentioned this guy, Henry Bombs Away Bombsy. That's Bomze. Henry Bombs Away Bombsy. It was the very first book that I ever read. And it was, something along the line of like picking winners or how to beat the races, something in that category, right? So I don't know. I was probably like in the 3rd grade. I got a copy of this book. Somebody hands it, believe them or not, somebody hands it to me.
Of course.
And the principles were so simple in this book that if you just stuck with it, I think you probably would have ended up being a winner lifetime. I don't know about lifetime. I mean, you still have to pick the right horses, but just simple stuff like don't complicate things. Don't cube the luck factor by betting trifectas. Or, as we've talked about many, many times, parlays, right? Well, what's the ruination of most gamblers? The very thing that all of these entities Now, are we sponsored now by DraftKings or FanDuel or any of these places, Caesars Palace
Sorry.
Sportsbook, MGM Grand? Naturally, I don't know. See, you can't be a phony, can you, Lubie?
It's not
You
great.
can't be a phony, and there have been many guys and people, women also, I'm sure, that are in broadcasting that it's all an act, right? Like, do you really believe Stephen A. Smith runs around all day screaming at people?
I
What
have
do you
seen him
think?
in person, and he does talk very much like that. When I was at the finals, I sat next to him. I think like 3 games in a row, 3 games, and had like long conversations. And he was really cool, but he would get aggressive. And we were talking about like '90s basketball, and he like and I was like, okay, so he sort of is like this. Like that is sort of him, actually, which is weird that someone
Well,
could be
it does happen to people that are doing an act where, they
take over.
so-called become a
Yes,
caricature of themselves.
yes.
Right? People were, making and casting those kind of aspersions towards the great Dick Vitale, where they were saying, "All right, enough of that. He's a diaper Andy." I
It did
liked it
a
because
lot.
he holds a place in broadcasting history for me, much like my buddy Al Bernstein. I say my buddy, I mean we know Al,
Friends. No,
and
you said
I've worked with him, but
friendly.
it's not like I talk to him every day or anything like that. But Al Bernstein was to boxing largely what Dick Vitale was to college basketball, where people enjoyed it, but the fact that Bernstein knew every single detail about the guy that was in the first bout on the undercard, and they're going 4 rounds today, pro debut for both of these guys, and he kind of brought it to you. And Vitale infused an enthusiasm about college basketball when he first came on the scene that I really think did a lot to move the game forward in terms of public perception.
Oh
Would you agree with that?
in the '80s and '90s, especially
Right.
the '90s with the diaper dandy crap. Like
All
it's
of
like
it.
German. Like it all got old. Like look, God rest his soul, Stuart Scott. Like eventually acts like that. Eventually wear thin, but okay, they did their job. Like they got you into it. They got you interested, which was
Yeah,
huge.
but you can't be a phony, this
Wow.
is a very perplexing question philosophically for me today, because Luby, not by design, but you have put me in a little bit of a predicament, a little bit of a broadcasting spot.
It's my dream. This is the best thing ever. I wish we had Goldie and the Greek on as well, just to like enjoy the moment.
Well, I mean, look, I'm not in the business of insulting guests that come on the show. We don't
Oh,
invite people on that we, feel the need to insult here
right.
on the program. I mean, that was a style of broadcasting, I guess, where you're attacking a guest. That was very popular in the radio talk show mode, and then in sports, and we used to make fun of our buddy Hank Goldberg, who is out there in Las Vegas and still working. He's dealing with some health issues, and I was very happy to see Hank Goldberg, who became a national figure, which is I didn't know that he was all that brilliant when he was doing his local talk show, because I wasn't a big fan of like having a caller call in and then start screaming at the guy, right? Where the guy says, "Hey, you think the Mets can win the pennant?" And you're like, "Oh, what kind of asshole are you? Mets win the pennant? What kind of stupid schmuck?" I don't know. I just don't get that irritated about it. It's kind of like the thing I have going with Mike Mayo, where he has that "Let's Eat South Florida" page, and a lot of people just are bitterly complaining about restaurants. And my theory would be, if you don't like it, so why are you going there? There's like a million
Exactly.
choices. You could do a zillion different things, but I was never a fan of like attacking people that come on the show, because my whole approach is more about conversations. I want the people to come across as being very likable, and every now and then, though, you're going to get somebody on. I mean, we've had. I don't know that we've had hostile interviews, but I
And
certainly was more than willing to just bag the interview we had with Tillman Fertitta, the owner of the Houston Rockets. So when it got to be a little tense, I would say right away, as he shot back at me, an insult, thinking that I had insulted him, when I was trying to sort of put an umbrella around the idea that maybe he wasn't this type of idiot like
yes,
Stephen Ross, who, it looks like a buffoon. He may not be an idiot, but he looks like a buffoon when he gets into the sporting world,
yes,
because no matter how successful, I mean, can you imagine? I can't even comprehend the wild success that this man had financially when he was one of those guys that did start from scratch, right? I mean, I
yes.
don't know. Did he bury a
Oh,
bunch of people along the way? I'm not sure.
probably. But he he
If
he,
the body
he,
says,
he wasn't family wealth. He made his own, and he's become one of the wealthiest men in the world.
there you go. I mean, look, if wealth is your goal, look, who wouldn't want to be? Is it better to be wealthy than not? Maybe so. Although, like we said, in the case of Stephen Ross and the way things have been going lately, I do believe that his conscience can easily, like an Etch-a-Sketch. Remember the old Etch-a-Sketch? You
I
didn't
love
have one of those
exercise.
where you
Of
drew
course.
something and then
Yes.
your mother would come pick it up and then would erase the
Oh,
whole thing.
yep.
You just had, made something that approached anything Picasso had ever done. Which I think that's how Picasso really did. He invent the Etch-a-Sketch? That's kind of what he was doing, huh?
Maybe.
Those little squiggly lines, and you go to the museum and they go, that's worth $80 million, that painting. And you're like, what the fuck?
What is
But anyway, so Lubie has me in a spot, and I don't know that it's applicable. See, I think I can dodge this question, and I don't know at this point, and I've been debating this now ever since I was aware that Lubie on our Believe podcast, which you heard the clips from Debbie Boone, that went way better than we could have anticipated because she was funny,
Oh, she was
right?
great.
And
She
then
was
she was
hysterical.
willing to poke fun at herself, and she had a nice perspective on her career. But and there were no kind of questions of any issue that I would have for Debbie Boone. I mean, she had a nice career. You didn't even know that she sang, right? I mean, were you aware of who this woman was, or that she was the daughter of Pat Boone, who
That's
was?
all I knew. Yeah, I didn't realize she had her own like major hit, and she sang a lot of different hits.
Was it her though? That I mean, did Streisand steal the thunder there? Barbara Streisand, old Babs there. Did she not steal the thunder of Debbie Boone? Because wasn't it Streisand that kind of brought that song to prominence with the movie "The Way We Were"? Right? Did she sing that in "The Way We Were"? I want to say yes to that.
Yeah, yeah, but it was her song. It was Debbie Boone's. Like Debbie, that's why she got a Grammy and Academy Award.
Yeah.
And the other, she won the triple threat with that song. It was the #1 song of the year or something because it was in that movie. And I'm sure Streisand's the one that made it what it was, but it was her song.
Well, and there's a point in any interview that we do, especially with people that we're not familiar with. Now, the people that come on the show as regulars, that they understand what the game is here. That we're going to try and have some fun while giving them a chance to illuminate whatever is the perspective that we're asking them to bring to the table here on the show. And that's why we go to certain people. And, very enjoyable, and we have great relationships with these people over the many years we've been doing it. But there's a point when you're interviewing somebody like on those Radio Row things, for the first time, and you don't know the person, and you don't really have a chance to speak to them first. I mean, they just sit down, and you're on the air, and you're ready to go. And with our style, where we like to infuse a little bit of humor into the interview, you never know how that person. There's always a moment there where you're not sure what's going to happen, or the ball's just rolling around the rim, and the time has expired, and the red light's on the basket, and it's either going to go in and you're going to win, or it's going to roll out and everybody's going to be pissed off.
Pretty
And
much.
so, and you don't know how that's going to hit somebody. Now, we have found, Lubie, and you, I think, we're a little bit tepid about this approach in the very beginning. Like, oh no, here goes Defo. He's gonna throw a joke question at the guy. And you just didn't know how that was going to go. But I think you found for the most part that people enjoy that a lot
Yes.
more
Yes.
than they do the same volley of questions that they're getting from, well, in the case of these Radio Row episodes, the other 30 radio stations or entities that they did interviews with.
Yeah, it's huge.
By the way, I mean, we didn't really get to joke around with that guy, Jorge Masvidal, the UFC fighter, but
He's classic. He's a lunatic, but he's classic.
he's on like the main event, I think, this week. And is a big underdog, by the way. So some guy that they used to be friends and now they hate each other. And he's talking about eating this guy's children. Anyway, getting back to the thing. So Lubie tells me that our Believe podcast today, or later on, I think it might be tomorrow's Believe
It's
podcast.
tomorrow.
that
It'll
we're
be on
doing,
tomorrow. Yeah,
is with no one other than John Oates of Hall & Oates fame.
yeah. And people see most people that have found us here have
Yeah,
watched us.
you wouldn't know the background on this.
Well, no. I think the people who found us here are real listeners. But they're like, if you're just finding us, you don't understand what that means. Those who have followed us for years know exactly what that means.
Yeah, I mean, you flipped on Ion Channel, and you realized that maybe you had some personal contact with Jack Namer or Amy or anybody connected with Ion Channel, and ask them, who's this old fat Jew that you have on the air there every morning? Well, what's the story on that? And they say, well, does this talk show? I'm not sure it's going anywhere or whatever. But no, they're very enthusiastic about it. But you may not be familiar with the background, which and it's been one of our campaigns that probably the most, and it comes up every time there's a Hall of Fame induction question, like with Zach Thomas. I mean, sure, Zach belongs in the Hall of Fame. We know that.
Yes.
And our solution to solving all of these issues about the Hall of Fame, I think, is as valid. And I'm amazed, Lubie, that the NFL is not even considering our approach to overtime, which they want to revamp because everybody feels how grossly unfair it is that they start a new game and one team may not get the ball. I mean, it's as dumb a system as you could possibly have. Even Jason Cole, who usually like immediately refutes anything that we say about NFL, priorities or whatever, protocol, I guess you would call it. Even he, is saying, yeah, you know what, you might be right about that. That was the idea of just continuing the game from where it ended, which would be the most fair treatment of overtime, and it becomes sudden death at that point. That's it, right? If you're on the 1 yard line, you go in and score, game over. Other team doesn't get the ball, but they had the ball the entire game, right? So it's a continuation of the same game. It makes perfect sense. Anyway, getting back to this thing. So Lubie tells me John Oates is going to be a guest. He's pushing something. I guess he has a new recording or a tour or something that he's doing, and he's doing it without Daryl Hall, who, in our opinion, I don't know if you agree with me, but I mean, Daryl Hall is the star of that group. Is he not?
Yes. He's the one everyone knows. He has the freaking thing out of his garage that's like a sensation just because he's Daryl Hall inviting people to play with him.
I mean, might be the coolest cat on the planet. I mean, it's either him or Keith Richards, right? Keith Richard, Richards of the Stones. I mean, one of those two guys is the coolest guy on the planet. And Daryl Hall's, I mean, he's probably a little more relatable because he's not as eccentric as Keith is. Okay, and that show, a terrific television series. I don't know if he's doing any new additions because I haven't seen one in a while. But Live from Daryl's House, for any music fan, is like must-watch TV. You can't help but get a good vibe off of that. Watching these guys jam, I mean, these are top-notch, top-level pros. They bring in guests. I mean, anything from Joe Walsh to like John Mayer, and they just blend in perfectly. And they start doing, a different Hall & Oates songs, and it's just fantastic. Absolutely, ZZ Top has been in there. And you watch Daryl Hall and the joy that he's feeling. And I love the fact that if you watch this show, one of the subtleties, which was once a true-false question on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, you'll notice in the background in certain shots, so when they zero in on Hall, certain angle, and this is obviously some man cave room he set up in I'm assuming the basement. I mean, it's a full-blown recording studio with everything you could possibly need. I mean, Criterion Records didn't have this kind of equipment there when they were, making all this noise down here in Miami in the record business. But he has a poster of Eddie Feyner, one of my favorite references, Eddie Feyner from The King and His Court fame, Lubie. Are you familiar with this guy? You probably never saw him. I probably had checked out. Eddie Feyner was with a touring group of softball players, and he was deemed to be, and probably was, the greatest softball pitcher of all time. All time. It was fast pitch. I mean, he wasn't lobbing it in there, and he literally would take on like the local fire department, or he could have an amateur team. Police department would assemble a team, and he would come with 3 other guys. And beat a team that had 10 guys in the field and batting. Now, obviously, he had some big sluggers, and these guys were hitting home runs almost every at bat, and nobody could hit this guy, right? I mean, he didn't need any fielders. The occasion when somebody actually made contact was pretty rare. All right, so Eddie Feyner, and to pay tribute to Eddie Feyner, I mean, imagine his Hall is not Canadian, is he?
I don't know.
I thought he was from Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't think it's Canadian.
Our contention, though, what was always that this, when the Hall of Fame came up, that John Oates was the most undeserving Hall of Fame member in any Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
okay. You can
John,
scream about Lynn Swan, but he was carried in there on the back of Daryl Hall. That was our theory.
Yes, for years.
Now, Lubie, you want me to run this by him, but he has no idea that we've been proliferating this theory. that Hall is the most undeserving Hall of Famer. Now he may be great in his own right. I don't know. Is John Oates? Hall obviously belongs in the Hall of Fame, but does John Oates really belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on his
I
own?
I always look. It's like Simon and Garfunkel. Supposedly Simon was a little bit better, but Garfunkel was definitely involved. You always think of Hall and Oates, people like me. I'm not from that era, so I didn't break down who had the more talent. I know their songs. I always think of Hall and Oates as one unit.
But I mean, on that theory, Rocky Blyer should be in the Hall of Fame because he was synonymous with Franco
Blyer
Harris.
should. Well, if you bring up Blyer's a weird example because Blyer's one people think should be in the Hall of Fame. He left to go freaking save the country, and then
but we don't value that so much until now, right? When we see this Zelensky cat and the Klitschko's, and Vasily Lomachenko is out there, and there's this other guy Ozik who was a heavyweight, something along those lines, and they're all putting helmets on.
Yep.
Fighting with the Ukraine, which, by the way, I mean, we can't get these guys some help, man, to take out this convoy. Come on, Lubie. I'm waiting for that on the news. I just want to see, like, the Rocky music playing, and then all of a sudden they just mow these cats down. And, supposedly, you following this? The Russian soldiers are saying, we don't want to be here either.
Screw it. Well, they don't know why they're there. This isn't like a concerted effort against a country that they have issues with. Like Ukraine and Russia are close. Like there's no.
It's like a mugging in an alley. It really is. I mean, it's no different. Where just arbitrarily you start pounding on somebody.
Wars are usually countries you have something against, you have an issue with. Ukraine doesn't have issues with anyone. They just do their own thing. They're like very free, open country. And Ukrainians and Russians are quite often confused for each other. Like most people in Ukraine, you assume a Russian.
I always thought the Klitschko's were Russian.
Exactly. So like they're fighting their brothers, and the people on the ground are like, why? They're like, fuck this.
It's crazy. Yeah. Absolutely insane. All right. So Lubie thinks that I should run this by Oates in the 10-minute frame
like a jerk. We
of
don't
time that we have, that we should say, hey, John, you know what? We've been saying this for years. We got to be honest with you. That's you're the least deserving member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because without Daryl Hall, nobody would know who the fuck you are. That's how he wants me to put it to him.
I would hope you wouldn't put it that way. I mean, I guess you could,
but there's no gentle way to approach that. It's a theory of ours that he would be completely unaware of. That, as you said, a lot of the people that maybe found us recently on Ion Channel or by Googling the Defo Show or word of mouth, whatever it is, they would have no idea that we ever said this. So do we have to justify it? See, I used to get on Hank Goldberg, who I mentioned before, and I love Hank, man. Hank was great to me, and had an iconic position, and the fact that he's still working, I dig that. Right? He's had health issues. I mean, literally like life-threatening health issues. And I remember when I spoke to him a couple of months ago, one of the first things he said to me is, I'm still working, Defo. And I'm like, that's great. I don't know that I want to be, but no, if you dig this business, this isn't work. It really isn't, Lubie. I mean, it's almost, I hate to put it in, psycho terms, but it's sort of therapeutic, is it not?
For me, it is. Whenever I have a tough sports weekend, I'm always like, damn it, I don't want to talk about it. But the first 10 minutes we talk about it, I get over it and I move on. It allows me to get work through my 10-year-old hang-ups when it comes to my sports teams and move forward. I love what we do.
This may be in poor taste, but it kind of illustrates the point and the predicament, the spot that Lubie's put me in today. And you've been doing everything in your power to egg me in this direction. And I know I'm not going to do it because I've already decided that would be way out of line.
I don't want you to be a jerk. No. They feed this source gives us really good talent. I don't want to do anything.
I would be insulted if I was Oates and some guy said, hey, you know what? Daryl Hall carried your ass.
I would never want you to put it.
Is that something the Big O would do? Our good friend Orlando Elziger, would he go ahead and fire that at him? I don't know. But I used to get on Hank because Hank Goldberg would be ripping the absolute life out of Bud Selig as an inept commissioner, like many people are saying about Rob Manfred Mann right now. They're saying that this guy butchered the entire situation and that the owners are unscrupulous as usual because they're putting things in the fine print that you wouldn't even find in a contract with iHeartMedia. Right? Where, yes, and for the rest of your life, you'll never be able to work again if we get rid of you for any reason. Oh, okay. I'll sign off on that.
So weird, yeah.
Hey, where do I sign, man? How much a year?
That's so
unbelievable. But yeah, people are blaming him for that. But Hank was particularly brutal on Bud Selig, inept with the steroids and everything, and he was always making goofball moves. Same thing, when he decided that the All-Star game should count for something in weighing out how you decide your championship later on. When we all see, I don't know that baseball's become this. At least sort of approximates the game, but other All-Star games, everybody wants to see vanish. I mean,
yeah.
Just
Honestly.
name your All-Stars. Don't take a week off and end the season a week earlier. That would be great, wouldn't it? Or if you want to give the guys some time off there so they have a chance to maybe recover. I don't know. Could you play NBA basketball 3 nights in a row?
That's a lot.
Even
That's a lot.
at 30 something. Are you
Not
kidding me?
this age.
Yeah.
No way. One day I'd be like,
you're wearing a diaper like Jerry Quarry by the time you were in your 40s. But excuse me.
So he'd go after Selig, yes.
No, I mean Hank. Would attack this guy. I mean, somebody would mention Bud Selig to Hank on his shows, and he would start screaming, "What kind of asshole?" I mean, he literally would snap. We would be watching him performing. As he was on the show, and literally worried like we had 911 dialed because we thought he was going to have a heart attack. He really got into it. I mean, he really did. He was sincere in, just despising this guy. And then he would get him on the show. Like somehow, they would have a thing where Major League Baseball was promoting something. So they call the station and go, hey, would Hank Goldberg like to talk to Bud Selig today? And, of course, you're going to take this guy as a guest, right? He's the commissioner of Major League Baseball.
Yes.
And then you get him on a show, and it was like, oh, Bud, so many good things. The television contract you negotiated was just an absolute thing of beauty. The players and the owners must be so happy with you. And it was like, wait a minute, you despise this guy in the build-up to his appearance on the show. Now, that doesn't come off well, but, I mean, the fact that nobody knows this, Lubie, about John Oates, it's not your theory. See, you could go ahead and issue the disclaimer there. The thoughts about John Oates being a complete fraud as a Hall of Famer, rock and roll Hall of Famer, are those of Defo alone. And we know he's insane.
I've never said it. You said it incessantly. Like to Goldie, and you and Goldie would fight. It's the only thing you guys ever fought about, really, was the fact
thought Oates belonged in the Hall of Fame.
He's a Hall of Famer. You're like, no, he doesn't. He does. He's.
It is an interesting debate. You would have to say, at the very least, it's an interesting and very debatable topic whether John Oates belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
What do you mean? Andy said, and I didn't see. Again, I didn't realize this because I always heard their names together. And he's more like the captain in Tennille than Simon and Garfunkel.
I waited on the captain and Tennille a couple of times at a restaurant I worked at in L.A. when they were at the height of their fame there. Well, they had like a really stupid song, man. How'd it go? I'm blanking on it. But it was like a really dumb song. And Tennille was very nice. The captain was a stiff. I mean, not a bad guy or anything. Like he just, it was like, he was, it was Penn and Teller, I mean, where the one person never said anything.
Is it Muskrat Love?
Muskrat Love. Good
Love.
one, man. Wow. Oh, okay. Dave Gurgles Gurgley would have known that because it was a trivia question. And even though sports is our game here with the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, Gurgles, who we want to welcome to the show, who's going to join us here for the challenge. And by the way, Lubie, we have the phone number for people to call, 954-417-0070. Gurgles, how are you? You look resplendent today. That's a great color for you, Dave Gurgles Gurgley. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, it matches my eyes, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Red? You're wearing red?
Red.
Pink.
Oh,
Anyway, it's been a long week. Just last week, as I mentioned probably before, we had 42 guys from Youngstown, Ohio for their 46th year and 16 guys from Butler, Pennsylvania for their 52nd year. So the golf course has been busy.
Wow.
We've been rocking and rolling.
They've been coming every year for
really,
52 years? Is that right?
52 years. And you'll appreciate this. Two of the guys that were on that original trip are still here. One was 81. The other was 77. Last year when they were here, they both shot their age.
Nice.
Which is quite a phenomenon. Yeah.
Would you shorten up? Women's tees? What was the protocol there?
No. They can play. They can literally play. And as always, I invited John Congemi to see him. He was busy, but we'll get him out here one day to play with him because they love John.
Oh yeah, Kajemi's fantastic, and well liked by everybody. No, that's fantastic. And I love that kind of thing. You do some of that with your annual trips, do you not, Dave Gurgles Gurgly, with a bunch of guys?
We started in 2007 going to the Weeki Wachee, Florida, to what's called Worldwoods Gulf, which has just been bought out by Bandon Dunes and all the big boys, or Cabot Cliffs. And we still have the shirts from 2007 that was all gringos. And on the sleeve it said, Se habla inglés. We all speak English. And we've been going ever since.
Beautiful. Now, where do you stand on the Oates thing? I don't know if you caught any of that.
Well, the thing is, I always thought that Clay Dalrymple was a better catcher than Johnny Oates. So that's I left it at that.
But Oates went on to manage,
that's not
right?
what we're
Didn't
talking
he distinguish
about?
himself?
Yeah, Johnny Oates. I remember Johnny Oates growing up a Philly fan. Yeah.
Well, and this John Oates, I thought John Oates also was from Philadelphia because Daryl Hall is like, sort of a flag bearer for Philadelphia music and the Philadelphia music scene at the time. But he's actually from New York, John Oates. So he's even, a guy who doesn't fit the equation there. Don't you think you can't take a whole team and put him in the Hall of Fame, can you? Just because, a few guys really stand out?
Music they do. They do it in music all the time.
Well,
Is Ringo Starr a Hall of Famer on his own? No one know who the fuck Ringo Starr would be if he was by himself. But it was the Beatles.
Yeah, I don't even think Ringo's a good drummer. I never thought
exactly.
So. Yeah.
But you have McCartney and even Harrison was great. The three of them were so fucking great. Yeah. Ringo's like, okay.
Ringo gets a pass. What do you think about Ringo, Hall of Fame, Gurgles?
Well, I thought he was a great center with the Packers. And when he went in to see Lombardi and said he had an agent, they traded him.
What about Jim Ringo?
Yeah, that's who I mean. And how about Loggins and Messina? What would you say with Loggins and Messina as far as those go?
They both had their talents. I guess you have to consider, and this is why I'm going to pass on the question. I was getting on, I used to scream at the radio when Hank Goldberg would say, he'd have like Adolf Hitler on the show. And he would go, Adolf, you got a bad rap about this stuff that happened.
Got a bad rap.
Your mind is blown. I mean, you've been attacking this guy forever, and rightfully so. How did you, lose all of your courage? But I don't think it would be. I mean, you do your share. I've done a lot of interviews over the years, Gurgles, and especially in emceeing capacities where you have the CEO of the company that's writing the check. You're not going to ask him about how the toxic environment at his company is. No doubt going to lead to litigation from various women that have made accusations that you're an onerous prick, right? I mean, you're going to say, "Hey, thanks for coming out," right?
Yep. Oh, I'll be interviewing this year again with the TJR Foundation, the commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell. We'll be talking to him. And last year when I had their tournament, I did my
you like Goodell.
Shirts.
I
do. Well, only in person, only in the setting he was in. In other words, he was there to help raise money for a worthy charity. We weren't going to discuss the instant replay or any rules like that. And he was super. He was super. Hercules, the big the guy with the forearms.
Yeah, Ed
had an autographed hat. Yeah, Ed. I had an autographed hat. He auctioned off for 100, 200. He said, "This is bullshit. 10,000." He said, "I don't want my hat back. Put it back out." And Goodell matched that 10,000. So I thought it was a classy thing to do, even if you do make 42 million.
Well, I heard he's a good.
63. It's going to be Goodell. 63 million.
53. Good for him.
63. Yeah. Nice number.
Wow.
God damn.
All right. So you're not inclined when Goodell steps up there to do his thing, and you're the moderator of this to say, hey, so what about this Dan Snyder cat?
No.
All right. So there you have it, Lubie.
Not the time or the place. Yeah.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, Hank asked me the other day if Jack Clark is still in the National League. But that was a long time ago.
That was so great when he thought he was talking. What was it? He was talking to Will Clark, who is a bit of a distant sort and was a bit of an oddball. Didn't care for the media, and Hank was telling him how he was a bat boy, and it was like Jack Clark he was talking about. And Will Clark's like, "Yeah, that was Jack Clark. What the hell are you talking about?" All right, are you ready? How are the questions today?
Yes,
how would you rate the questions? Because we'll probably get
I would rate them
some real stud players today.
B plus. We've got some contemporary, we got some old ones, and we got some Fountain of Youth questions.
Okay. Fountain of Youth. Oh, you're right. That's coming up. Now, I mean, have you looked at this already, Gurgles? You're kind of an
As a
advanced
matter of
handicapper.
fact, when we finish, have Lubie send me your direct email, and if you like, I happen to have some past performances I could send to you.
Wow, I don't know if they would do me any good at this stage of my
Okay.
handicapping life, because I'm glancing at the racing form and just hoping nobody takes it, even though I probably could go screen to screen just off the board without it in most cases. But it does help to consult the thing. It really does. I mean, when you lose your first 6 bets and you say, well, maybe I ought to like do a little handicapping, then that changes everything. The favorite doesn't always run second. Gurgles. I've come to learn that over the years. Doesn't always run
It's not always a
second.
5-7 double. Yep, 5-7 doubles. Yeah,
You
but
can
you
only
will
bet those
appreciate
there.
this. Someone,
Yeah.
go ahead. This looks like probably the most stakes laden card that Gulfstream has ever had.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
And now, like, horse players always complain about the quality of the fields. And I always have that quote from Andy Beyer. I was interviewing Andy Beyer one day for one of the racing shows we were doing. And I don't do a Beyer, impression like Jersey Kyle, but he said something along the lines of, this happens to be the worst field of 3-year-olds and Derby contenders since Plug Nickel was 3-5 to win in Kentucky. I mean, people always complain. Well, this is a lousy crop. So what would you say to that? Just in your, horse racing assessment.
I would say that Gulfstream has come up with some innovative things too, because on Saturday they're going to have $1 all turf pick 5 and $1 all dirt pick 5 combined with Santa Anita. So it's going to be quite a race.
That sounds like a twin pick 10.
And all dirt, dollar bet, and combining both racetracks should be really, really something.
All right, we're going to get to Hialeah Park. Speaking of racetracks, beautiful racetrack, Hialeah Park, our favorite place on the planet to go and punch away on the ponies. Hialeah Park Champion Simulcasting Room. Is that where you'll be Saturday?
I will be there Friday, as a matter of fact.
Great.
Friday, I'll be out there a little bit, and then get the form, and then Saturday I'll decide where I want to go. But man, Hialeah Park, you can't beat it. I mean, I like to go there for the food, the ambiance. You reminisce about it, and then you go, boy, it was such a great place. And then you go in and go, wow, it's a great place now, too. Unbelievable.
This is from Mayo, too, and I would have to say the Manhattan clam chowder, and I don't know if they still serve this there. Back in the day, and it was available at the concession stand. Same stuff they brought up to the press box. Magnificent. Maybe the best I've ever had in my lifetime at Hialeah Park. And, and that's how it is with all the food. It kind of surprises you how good it is, because you're not expecting this at a ballpark or any kind of stadium or where you're going to kind of a sporting environment. You're punching away on the races. And racetracks have done their share to try and upgrade what they're offering, maybe at premium prices. And that's the other thing about Hialeah Park. It really is. It's probably cheaper than buying groceries to go eat there. It's absolutely fantastic. What was it? Yeah. That sandwich that you had at Junior's it was unbelievable.
Roast beef, romaine lettuce, and cheddar cheese for $3.
$3.
Unbelievable.
Are you kidding me?
You can't.
Right. I mean, less than a quarter of the price of a form. Yeah, I mean, absolutely amazing. They make it fun. The people really treat you right. Great staff there, and they have them. Just absolutely zeroed in on the idea of customer service being the number one priority. That's another really nice aspect, because casinos aren't always necessarily that way. Yeah, blackjack's over there. You know how it can be. It can be a little rough. You ask a question. I'm sure people in casino environments are particularly annoying, but it doesn't matter. The staff there, they never waver, man. It's always first class all the way. Get a player's card when you come through the door. You're going to love that. The casino's been paying big jackpots. You ever seen a better smile than Steve Calabro, the casino manager there?
Unbelievable.
Great guy, man. I mean,
well experience, great customer service. Yep. Starts from the Bernetti family and goes down, and everybody treats you like kings at Hialeah.
And, we miss seeing Frankie down there, but he's always in our thoughts and mind, because, nobody better when it comes to, you talk about loyalty. And that's why we're happy to reciprocate there, because Hialeah Park's just a dynamite place. The Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge on tap. Join us on the phone lines. Now, we have still the cockamamie system. We say we're going to correct it every week, but we say the Polyman's going to be back with us every week. And that hasn't happened yet. But Lubie is working awkwardly with like one phone line, and that would be 954. It's a very precious phone line, 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. We'll play as many as we can in about an hour edition of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge today with Dave Gurgles Gurgley, who's out there at the newly named Miami Country Club
Miami Lakes Golf Club,
Golf
and Miami Lakes Hotel on Main, and ML Steaks and Sports, the former Shula Steak too. So
no, is
much
the
more to
menu
come.
still similar to what it was? They always
Menu's
had a
really
nice
good.
mix.
Our food is very, very good. So come on out. And the golf course is very, very busy. So we're having a rock and rolling time out here. We just had 7 guys from North Carolina just leaving today. They flew in for 2 days. We got another group coming in this weekend. So we're rocking and rolling out here, and we're ready for the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge as well.
Was Boom Boom Mancini with the group from Youngstown? Ray Boom Boom Mancini?
No, he was not. He was not. But there were some guys that were like this, I think, that were related. They knew some people that knew some people. Yeah.
Kelly Pavlik, did you see him? He's a Youngstown fighter. All right, we're coming back with Dave Gurgles Gurgley in a moment here on Ion Channel. Once again, Jack Namer doing a fine job supporting us, and Brad with his technical expertise, the lovely Amy always trying to advance the show for Michael Lubitz and I to see if we can't just bring this thing to all new levels. You're going to see why it should be that way with the Trivia Challenge coming up with Dave Gurgles Gurgley in a moment. Now that.
The time!
It's 7:41.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
Jason Taylor, by the way, welcome to the show.
Now we have to get Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
In Dallas.
How is he not?
Well,
that ain't happening.
Uh-oh, gotta go.
Gotta go buy the stadium. Can you make enough money at autograph?
Buy the stadium. I can't even buy a Coke in that stadium or Pepsi, whatever they sell over there.
Jason, always a pleasure, my friend.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
for stopping by. Jason Taylor with us here on Radio Row for Super Bowl 54. We'll be back with more in a moment.
Now that
he wins.
Oh, I tried to beat you to
Oh,
it.
do it.
I'm gonna let you do
Let
it.
him do it.
Okay, back with more in a moment.
Now that
The time!
there it is.
It's 9:31. You gotta get the
There
time.
you go. My bad. I forgot 9:31.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
That was quite an honor for us. So we realized that Jason Taylor was that big of a fan of the show, and that was our radio show, and we did that for 11 years. Here we are on Ion Channel, and about 4 months, and we couldn't be happier than to be bringing you the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge today with the great Dave Gurgles Gurgley, Jeff Deforrest, and Mike Lubitz. The phone number when available is 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. We'll play as many as we can and then have a championship round. And you get the distinction not only of being crowned a champion, right? Hall of Fame type of stuff, right? Johnny Oates. I do remember John Oates, the manager, being probably more impactful with what he was doing professionally than John Oates, the singer. It's going to bother me all day, Dave. I'm sorry about that.
Bring it up.
Anyway, you get the distinction of being a champion here on Ion Channel. And, of course, Lubie's going to throw in a gift certificate. If you happen to be a local person here, you can take advantage of Lubie's gift certificate to Landlubbers. And if you're from out of town, it might even be worth flying in, to go ahead and, redeem that gift certificate and go to Landlubbers, where Lubie also conducts, wild trivia competitions that involve many of the fabled people who have been participants on this show, including one Lenny, the Chronic, who, buys drinks for the house every time he comes in there because he's got about 250. And is there a cap on that? There should be some kind of cap on the number of certificates you can bring in once, right? Shouldn't there
You
be
can only use one at a time. That was something we had issues with a few years ago.
a disclaimer? Yeah.
And it's been worked out, and everyone's walked away happy. But yes, one at a time, like any coupon or gift certificate in the world, you can use one at a time.
I mean, I think Sufreen should limit the hours to between 11 and 11:15 in the morning. Right, and clear this, these deadbeats out. No, we're happy if you guys win the certificate. We hope you take advantage of it. A Landlubber's gift certificate goes to our winner as well. All right, so here we go. 954-417-0070. And we don't have the Polyman. I haven't spoken to the Polyman this week. And those conversations are becoming more and more infrequent, Gurgles. What do you think?
That's not good.
I'm hoping, man. I'm hurting things are good. We love you, Polyman. But we always pay homage to the Polyman when he's not with us on the show. Couldn't get my car started with Gurgles and what would normally be the typical and traditional opening question.
Easy baseball. All right, easy baseball. This longtime L.A. Dodgers manager on Matrimony said, marriage is a wonderful invention. Then again, so is the bicycle repair kit. What's that? Tommy Lasorda? Tommy Hutton? Benjamin Button or Benjamin Greenstein?
Lasorda was great, man. He was another one of those guys. I mean, I always talk about ambassadors for the game. He just infused you with enthusiasm for the game of baseball. All right, the Scrambler is on its way to Andy. You're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
So why do you ask me marital questions? I mean,
that was Muskrat Love. Very good, Andy. Also, you popped that up on the chat line, the Captain and Tennille's big goofball hit. That, I was. I don't remember exactly how it did, but how it went, but it wasn't much of a song, I don't think. Muskrat Love.
Although we knew somebody that wore a muskrat on his head, I think. Didn't we?
Probably did.
Let's not get into specifics here, Gurgles.
No.
It could have been a muskrat. It really could have been.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a sideways muskrat. Those people always think that, they're fooling everybody, right? I mean, yeah, this looks good. It's crazy. All right. 1 point, Andy, going for 2.
All right. As promised, Fountain of Youth horse racing true or false question. I know Andy's good at that too. Believe it or not, Fountain of Youth, I think, started in 1945 as a grade 2 stakes race. For 1 year in the early 80s, it was not run at Gulfstream, it was run at Calder because of a flooding problem at the track at Gulfstream. True or false?
You were probably there that day, Andy.
I hadn't moved down here yet. Actually, I was still in New York. I was Fountain of Youth, so that's Ponce de Leon. He was there. I'll go with false.
It is false. It is false. It's
wow.
been at Gulfstream every year. Yep.
I thought I remembered the flood when you said that.
I was like, oh yeah, it's a crazy flood.
Oh yeah. That
you were
sounds
thinking,
good. That was a good question.
You were thinking the one in Johnstown.
2 for 2 there.
All right.
Andy going for 5.
All right, NFL, Andy. Since the beginning of the Ravens' stay in Baltimore, out of respect for Johnny Unitas, who was the only quarterback ever to wear number 19 as a Raven.
Wow.
What's that? Scott Mitchell, Joe Flacco, Vinny Testaverde, or Heath Schuler?
Schuler.
I want to say Scott Mitchell.
It was our own Scott Mitchell. Very good. Yep.
Oh, really? Good for you.
The left-handed rifleman. Yes. Still, I mean, to this day, you talk about disgrace. I mean, to this day, Greg Cody, great writer, right? I mean, very innovative, different, still around with the Herald and the Levitard show, has made him world-renowned. Greg Cody, great commentator. And he's still disgraced by the fact that he wrote a column that suggested that the Dolphins would be better off with Scott Mitchell at quarterback, who had filled in and looked okay for a few games when Marino got hurt one year, and that they should dump Marino and keep Scott Mitchell.
I do remember that.
And somebody became convinced of that, right? Didn't he go to Detroit after that?
Yes.
And
Yes, he
bombed
did.
out like
Had a
laid
big
an
number
egg.
with Detroit.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, going for 7 points here, Andy, to set the pace. Once again, once Andy's done, you can dial us up at 954-417-0070 if you'd like to play this week's edition of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Here's Dave with our next set of, our next 5-point question.
All right, back to horse racing and the Fountain of Youth. 49er in 1988 was Woody Stevens, the trainer's winner of the Fountain of Youth. And he was ridden by Angel Cordero, Georgie Velasquez, Randy Romero, or Eddie Maple.
1988. Before we get to that, do you have an opinion on the first with Ludlow?
Is that where they have the jockeys on the harness horses? Which track is that that's on early in the morning?
That's in France. That's the wildest thing I ever saw.
Craziest stuff I've ever seen. Yeah.
Wow.
49er. I'll go with Eddie Maple.
I'll go Johnny V. It was Eddie Maple?
Eddie Maple. It was Eddie Maple. Well done. Well done.
Eddie Maple.
Hang on,
Very good. All right, Andy, good job. 7 points, setting a pace here on this week's edition of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz, and the great Dave Gurgles Gurgly. You can dial us up if you'd like to play at 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. Perdomo Cigars, David. What do you have
Yes,
working
sir.
this week with Nick and the people
Well,
there?
it's a great story, too. The fellas from Youngstown that were here last year had discovered Perdomo Cigars, ordered a box last year for one of the guys' birthday. It was his 70th birthday. Got a box of the Maduro 10th anniversary cigars. This year, when they came down here, they said, "Hey, Dave, we'd like to meet Nick in person, like meet the celebrity." I called Nick. We took 4 guys down there to Perdomo, right off 5150 Northwest 167th Street, off the Palmetto on the south side, east of Home Depot, about 2 miles from the golf course. And Nick spent an hour with him talking about the history of Perdomo. Got to give him a tour of the factory, talk about the Cuban seed tobacco grown in Nicaragua. And I went to see Nick yesterday, and I said, "Nick, I can't thank you enough. The way you treated those people, you made their entire trip." So it's a family business. They make those cigars perfect, one at a time, and they make great cigars. So this weekend, whether you're going out just to the backyard, whether you're going to be outside at a racetrack or a venue, or whether you're going to be on your boat, or whether you just want to relax, why not put something great in your mouth with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars? Call them 305-627-6700, open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Or you say, "You know what? Saturday morning, I wanted to buy a Perdomo. I didn't know where to go." Go online, www.perdomocigars.com, to find a retailer near you that sells these great cigars. So Perdomo Cigar, #1 in our book, and make it #1 in your humidor. Perdomo Cigars.
Tell a little story related to Perdomo Cigars. On my walk of life, in the early portion of it, I always pass this guy, and he's an older guy, and he's just sort of slumped on what would be a bus bench, although I don't think he actually gets on the bus. And he's smoking a cigar every morning, so it kind of reminds me of like walking into Hialeah Park in the day, when you'd walk in, or any stadium where they used to allow smoking, and it was a boxing match, and you'd smell, the strong aroma of various cigars, and that first whiff is kind of, very appealing, right? So I look at the guy, and I say, "Perdomo?" He's smoking a cigar every day, and he said, "That's right, they're the best."
Yep.
So
I passed the same guy. I passed the same guy sitting on a bench crying one day. And I went up to him. I said, "Oh man, why are you crying?" He said, "Well, I don't have my Perdomo cigars, but besides, the reason I'm crying is I just married a 25-year-old beauty pageant winner who cooks for me, cleans for me, and makes love to me 3 times a week." I said, "That's terrific. Why are you crying?" He said, "I forgot where I live."
a joke that probably hits very much at the heart of most of our listeners and viewers. All right, we're coming back with more of the Trivia Challenge. 954-417-0070. Andy's setting the pace now at 7 points. That's Dave Gurgles Gurgley. And you might have missed your calling, man. I mean, Borscht Belt would have been... Shecky Green would have never been heard of. He wouldn't have had a horse named after him. There would have been a horse that won stakes named Dave Gurgles Gurgley.
No, I got in the future. I think this is something for me and Paulie, and maybe you too, going around to the retirement homes and doing improv there. Yes, because the good news is we could do a show and come back next week, and it would still be fresh to them. It would be perfect.
God.
Kids rolling, man. Did you are these jokes you picked up from those guys? From Youngstown? Or,
No. We've had these a long time. Yeah.
All right, very good. All right, coming back with more Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Stick with us, people. Dave Gurgles Gurgley. Probably do this up until about 8:30 here today, and then we'll have some more stuff for you here tomorrow. A Degenerate Friday. I'm going to go under on Jersey Kyle actually having mastered the technology, i.e. Going out with the 1,500 he wanted to track last week and buying a $300 computer. I don't want to put pressure on the guy, but I'm going to go under on that he didn't get it done. What do you say, Louie?
If I needed to help him, so I haven't heard from him, so I'd presume no. Under.
Okay. All right, so we'll figure under on that, but he may join us. I don't know. He's not big about just appearing on the telephone, which I'm not big on either, but nonetheless, I mean, we haven't heard from this gentleman for a while. We'll also have the professor with the big board, and that's become the sensation. I think he's stolen the entire show with like the number one segment on any
come on after
any streaming show. Yeah. And Mayo has to follow that, and he keeps hocking and chining about how we have to go to the Skyline Chili thing so I can pay off this bet that he feels I'm going to welch on. And I'm more than willing to buy him like a $1,000 gift card just so I don't have to go. Because I don't know, Gurgles, Skyline Chili, were you ever a fan? I passed by one of their original stores here the other day, which is now going to be a Jiffy Lube, which I thought was very appropriate.
Wow.
It was in the transitional stage. I mean, they had the fence around it, and, they'd taken the logo off there. But that was like the one on Federal Highway that we always passed.
Near Oakland Park. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I know exactly where. I used to be a waiter at the Black Angus Steakhouse, which is right down the road from that back in the 70s. But the good news is when they change it from a Skyline Chili to a Jiffy Lube, they can change the sign, but they're not changing the menu.
No, not at all, man. I mean, it was literally like a grease ball for your rear end. That thing, it was unbelievable. All right, coming back with more of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz. Lubie is looking forward to this because he will eat anything. All right, so he's on board for this also, this trip to Skyline Chili, which and then Mayo. I mean, he's like Anthony Bourdain on this show for some reason. I mean, he starts shoveling some frozen Skyline Chili in his face right here on the air. And I mean, we're being bombarded with like people on the chat line, and Jack's calling me screaming, "What is this man doing? What is this man doing? He's killing you, Dave. He's killing you." And I didn't know that that was actually literal, that he was going to be killing us with this trip to this place. I thought it was horrible, right? I'm a big chili fan. I was looking forward to it. It's like, wow, if you're Skyline Chili, it must be good.
No.
0.0. You think Oates belongs in the Hall of Fame, by the way? You never really said Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I do not. I really don't. I would think Johnson out of Olsen and Johnson belongs there, but that's a little while back then.
I mean, you can't take the whole team. I guess with bands it works that way, right? Yes. He must have been a contributor. Daryl Hall wouldn't have kept him around if he was a chump. I guess I should look at it that way, right? I'm going to put it to him that way.
Yeah, but do you put in the entire left bank for the song "Just Walk Away, Renee"? They did it.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, was Sunny really that dynamic of a contributor to Cher? No, she was fine on her own. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. We'll play as many as we can and do this till about 8:30 Eastern Time here in the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. If you want to play, 954-417-0070. If you get a busy signal, that means we have somebody lined up, and you'll be the next one in if you just keep calling. So, or especially as you hear that conversation end. We'll come back with our next player in a moment here on On Channel. Google the Defo Show. You catch all of this. And don't forget, again, tomorrow we have the Degenerate Friday coming up, and the Professor Big Board. It's very hard. I mean, very hard for Mayo to come on and follow that. Back with more in a moment. Now that
The time.
he's crying about it now too, Mayo. He's like, "Hey, you're killing me, man. Can I go on before the Professor?" It's 8:00. Poker is your game. You're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
We welcome to the show Matt Hardy, part of the Hardy Boys tag team, 14-time World Tag Team Champions. A lot of people have tried it, though, but few have had the kind of success that you and your brother Jeff had. You have a big pay-per-view coming up, Double or Nothing, on Saturday.
Oh, it's going to be incredible. And myself, I'm going to be taking part in a first-time ever match. It's a match called the Stadium Stampede, and it's going to pit myself, Broken Matt Hardy, teaming up with the Elite, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, and we'll be taking on Chris Jericho and his team of underlings, the Inner Circle. And our wrestling ring is the entire stadium of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You can fight anywhere in the building, on top of the stadium, inside the stadium, on the goalpost, pinfalls count anywhere. It's going to be the most wild match you've ever seen.
How do you train for something like that?
I've been jumping off ladders and going through tables all day.
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
Well, once again, everybody, great to be with you here on On Channel, the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz, and we're immersed right now in our game of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. We do this every Thursday with Dave Gurgles Gurgley. Eventually, I don't know, through the grace of God or, some kind of higher power, we'll probably have the Polyman involved in this thing again, and we look forward to that day. But in the meantime, doing the best we can as a trio here, which, if one of us had been with Hall & Oates, would we also be Hall of Famers, even though we contributed nothing?
A
little tambourine, off on the side. I don't know.
Hall and Oates and Schmenk. What? I don't know what the name would be. I don't know.
Exactly.
Hall, Oates, and Lubitz. It has a ring to it. Hall, Oates, and Lubitz. Yeah. Like Dino, Desi, and Billy. Remember when those guys got together years ago? They had a band. And Jerry Lewis's kid, also, was it Gary Lewis and the Playboys? You'll still, exactly. If you go, you venture out to, places like Reno, right, on your trips to Tahoe and,
sure,
other different destinations that you like to frequent. And you might catch, Gary Lewis playing in the lounge like an 80-year-old Gary Lewis. And all of a sudden out in the lounge area, you're hearing "This diamond ring doesn't shine for you anymore."
Doesn't shine for me anymore. Yep. Wow.
And you're thinking, wow, that guy's still at it, huh? I mean, how much do they pay in the band in the lounge there? When they're like three drunks from Tahoe that just happened to be stranded there for the night because their car wouldn't start. It was freezing. All right, let's get right into it. Our next set of questions. We have Andy setting a pace here on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. You can jump on board if you want to play at 954-417-0070. Lubie's handling all of that. And I think we're ready to go. So we're going to fire up Dave Gurgles Gurgley and our next set of questions and feature our next player.
Football. This Denver Broncos team nutritionist, when asked by the coach how the players were doing as far as nutrition, said, well, I'm not so sure. When I asked them for the 4 basic food groups, they didn't hesitate. Right away, they said Wendy's, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, and Burger King. What's that? Jack Benning, Chad Henning, Norman Chad, or Hanging Chad?
All right, we're rolling a random phone scrambler here to determine our next player. And lo and behold, here it is, man. Alex Dufresne's of Landlubber's fame, worst nightmare, Lenny the Chronic. Although we love him. Well, we love you, Lenny. And the fact that you've been
loyal,
just a dominating champion. I mean, like the Klitschko's were in the heavyweight division for a long, long time, and all due respect to them for doing what they're doing now. But, you're a warrior, Lenny, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Good morning.
All right, he's going with A,
Morning,
then,
Lenny.
I assume, so that gives him 1 point.
Good morning, fellas.
And make sure, Lenny, off the air, give Lubie, off the air, make sure you give Lubie your social security number because Alex Dufresne wants to use it on his taxes as a deduction.
Yeah.
So you make sure you...
You'll be getting a 1099 for the prizes you've won here on the show because they're
I think
far
it's
in
more like a
excess
$20.99.
of $1, yeah.
All right, here we go. Olympics, true or false, Lenny? Believe it or not, Roman Emperor Nero declared himself the winner of the Olympic chariot race, even though he fell out of his chariot during the race. True or false?
I think
true.
True, he says.
That is true.
Right.
That is true. I think he was passed by Hervé Filion in the stretch.
Yeah. I think I called that race.
That's funny.
I've fallen and I can't get up. It doesn't matter. You're going to win it anyway. Yeah, there, we'll just keep fiddling around. All right, 2 for 2 there, Lenny. Good job. You usually get smoked on the true-false question.
I got one.
On a roll here, my friend.
All right, Lenny, let's go to the NBA. We just had their All-Star game, and we want to know who was the last player to win back-to-back MVPs in the NBA All-Star game. What was that? Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, or Kobe Bryant?
Wow. Let's go with Kobe.
You would have to think Kobe.
Wow. No.
Incorrect?
It was Russell Westbrook back in 15 and 16, as a matter. Yep.
All right.
Wow.
That gives you a shot here with this 5-point question, Lenny, to get into a tie for first place with the great Andy, who tallied 7.
All right, Lenny, you're a big baseball fan, right? All right. Horse racing. All right. Who was the last jockey to win back-to-back editions of the Fountain of Youth race at Gulfstream?
A lot of back-to-back questions today, man. This is good.
Right. Irad Ortiz Jr., Luis Saez, Johnny Velasquez, or Jerry Bailey?
Jerry Bailey.
Let's go with Louis.
Science.
Well done. Yeah.
You did
2014 and 2015. Wildcat Red. And it's, I can't remember reading my writing on it, but yeah, 2014 and 15. Well done. Wow.
2 strong entries here so far in the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. We'll try and play a couple more, so you can dial us up at 954-417-0070. That line just cleared up, so if you've been trying to get in, go ahead and fire it up, and you'll see Lubie frantically answering the phones and doing all of the bizarre technical things we have to do to accommodate our efforts to bring you, the epitome of entertainment here, the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. We want to bring it to you at its best. So dial us up, 954-417-0070. Lenny already with 7 points and a stack of Landlubber's gift certificates always looms as a threat in this thing. He is like the Alabama Would you say that Lenny is to this game what Alabama is to college football right now, where he's always going to come in as a very substantial favorite? So jump on board if you want to play. 954-417-0070. Gurgles, we can't emphasize this enough. And when you're hanging out at Hialeah Park, one of the nice things, too, if you're in the champion simulcasting room, is you can walk out either on the track side or especially on the balcony side and overlook the great paddock area there, which was always sensational. I mean, just, the scenes that happen there, you can almost see them unfolding like it was the Great Gatsby coming together right in front of your eyes. But you're out there and you can puff on a brilliant Perdomo cigar. And you know what is great, too? You can do that anywhere. So tell us more about what's happening with Nick and the boys.
Yeah, and like I said, 5150 Northwest 167th Street, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., 305-627-6700. I like going on the track side because when I light up that Perdomo cigar, the flamingos start flying towards me because they love it. They'll eat their shrimp, but they love the smell of Perdomo cigars. Yeah. They're perfect, folks. You can buy humidors, you can buy gift cards, you can buy anything you want for Perdomo cigars. Well, coming up, what do we got? We got holidays coming up. We got St. Patty's Day coming up. Valentine's Day. I hope some of you folks bought some Perdomo cigars for your loved ladies or men. Nick and the gang are doing a terrific job there. It's a fourth generation making them perfect one at a time. So when you want a Perdomo cigar, go visit them in person. Call them, 305-627-6700. Go online, www.perdomocigars.com to find a retailer near you. And just like Jeff and Mike put together this great deal on YouTube the Perdomo story that Nick himself will tell personally, and you can see the care they do and what a great job they do with these fine cigars. So that's Perdomo Cigars, our feature sponsor. Perdomo Cigars in Hialeah Park, 1 and 1A in our book.
You confuse the two together. In fact, I didn't realize this, but wasn't it after the 7th race, between the 7th and the 8th, that you had the Flight of the Flamingos there at Hialeah Park? It was a tradition. Exactly. It was fantastic. Yep. They played the music, and then and Dennis Testa, of course, the great Dennis Testa, who is the groundskeeping, light years ahead of like George Toma and any of the famous groundskeepers that they've had around the sporting life. But did he not line up under your theory that the Flamingos responded to the aroma of a Perdomo cigar? Did he not line up a Perdomo to get them to fly every time the 7th race was concluded?
Well, for a long time, it was the Flight of the Flamingos and the Light of the Perdomo. They were almost simulcast together, as a matter of fact. Yes, there's that much success going on.
No, good stuff. All right, we're going to have the finals coming up here in just a few minutes here. We're going to play off Andy and Lenny. They both tallied 7 points, and so we're going to get to that in just a couple of minutes on the show. And then we'll have more of our sporting fanfare. Dave Gurgles Gurgley with the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. He's Mike Lubitz. I'm Jeff Deforrest. Tomorrow, a full-blown Degenerate Friday. And once again, the Professor's Big Board has been a sensational hit here. Great addition to the program. We'll try and fish up Jersey Kyle for some of his commentary. Haven't heard from him for a while on the show. Mark Lawrence is going to be rejoining us in a couple of weeks, getting into the NCAA tournament, which, Gurgles, this is a poor trade-off, I would say, but nonetheless, it salvages something of the feeling that I was looking for. I had to bag the Vegas trip because of very prohibitive flight availability. It just wasn't favorable. It would have been a big schlep out there, get there real late on the first night, come back on a red eye, be burnt out on the return. You don't want to go on a vacation or a little respite and come back completely. Well, I mean, back in the day, coming back completely wasted was the condition of choice. But so I'm diverting to Atlantic City, which they're giving the flights away. Yeah, I mean, even it's Spirit Airlines, but it's only a couple of hours. So you'll only have your knees in your throat for like, 2.5 hours? Is that? How much can the Adam's apple withstand? Yeah. And anyway, and so we're going there. But they do have a nice sports book where, I think I'll get the vibe of the tournament in the Borgata Sportsbook, which is a very nicely designed sportsbook and bar. And you would like this place. It would have been one of the nicer rooms if you went to Las Vegas. So that's where I'll be.
If you do get back to Vegas, when we went downtown, the one that they just built there, I think yes, their sports book is unbelievable.
Yeah,
and they don't do horse racing except for the big races, but for basketball, the screens and everything, wow, it'd blow you away. Yep.
Yeah, that would have been nice. I was looking forward to it, and I probably would have checked that place out because that would have been the time. Because my whole thing is to feel that degenerate atmosphere that is unparalleled on the first day and first weekend of the NCAA tournament when you have all of these
You're not
schmanky
kidding.
teams and they're going to be upsets. And we feel like the professor, who'll also give us some college basketball tomorrow, has a big edge in that because he really studies all of these weenie teams, and he knows that certain name teams are badly inflated in terms of what people think of them. And so you find these upsets, right? And don't sleep on our man Rick Pitino if he gets in there
All right. Yes.
for a
I own
first
that.
round upset. Yeah. It's true though. They are going to introduce a couple of his players as being from parts unknown because nobody knows where Patino found these guys.
God bless him.
Right. All right, coming back with the finals. Lenny the Chronic versus Andy, a heavyweight matchup of great significance here as we continue the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, brought to you by the great people at Hialeah Park. Frankie, we love you. And we'll continue with that in just a moment here on On Channel. Mike Lubie Lubitz, Jeff Deforrest, Dave Gurgles Gurgley. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:15.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
You've lost that love and feeling, which I marched down the aisle to on 2 occasions. It was one of those, Karen, that was all we had. That was all they had. They only had a couple of musical choices, none of which were particularly good.
I feel like that says something if that's all you can walk to the aisle.
You never close your eyes. That part's good. But when the chorus starts and everybody's singing in the audience, you've lost that love and feeling.
There's nothing better than Defo. It's now time for the Defo Show.
Was 0 for 2 with a walk going into this one. And it's spent its share of time on perilous terms. Let's put it that way. Welcome back to the show. Set for the finals here. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie Lubitz, the Defo Show, On Channel, Jack Namer's fine group. The handsome man in the middle of the screen there is one Dave Gurgles Gurgley, world-renowned as an MC and a host of great distinction, many, many different things, including Beat the Broadcaster if you're holding a golf tournament. And you'll ship, right? I mean, for the right price, if people pay your transportation, you're more than happy to ship and
I don't even need that.
To charity. Yeah,
I don't even need that. Next Monday, I will be at Grand Oaks, the Caddyshack home.
Oh,
nice. Peyton's Pals, an autistic charity near and dear to me. They also help benefit the Dan Marino Foundation. And the week after that, I will be at Doral for Archbishop McCarthy. So luckily, my boss here at Miami Lakes Golf Club allows me to go there because 2 things. I'm handing out some passes to bring people here. And then when I have the tournament organizers here, I'll say, hey, let's meet, talk about bringing the tournament with us to Miami Lakes next year.
Wow.
Why not?
Nice.
Yeah, and you're making people happy out there. Now do you deliberately or go out of your way to pick the shortest par 3 to do this thing
I do. I asked for that. Yeah, because not only does it help me, but also the shorter the hole, the more participation.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, I can do that," So, yep,
Right.
that's the whole key to it. Absolutely.
And the thing is, you call it beat the broadcaster. You hit a shot, and then whoever gets the ball inside of wherever your shot is, even if it's like dead center in the stream that's on the left side there.
The deal is, if I'm on the green, you have to be closer to win. If I'm off the green, you just have to be on the green to win. And the good news is, if everybody in the foursome pays, and I beat all of them, well, that's your birdie putt right there.
Oh, very nice.
So it's
nice.
a win-win-win.
Yeah, no, it works out well. I mean, they've done a great job with that. Turned that into like its own little cottage industry, and it's fantastic.
Exactly.
They're doing great work for everybody. Dave Gurgles Gurgley, the ambassador of love with the Beat the Broadcaster. So if you're holding a golf tournament, get a hold of Gurgles, man. Call him at, once again, the new name is Miami Lakes.
Miami Lakes Golf Club. Yeah.
Golf Club. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get it, by 3 or 4 weeks from now, I'll have this down. I really will. All right. One thing we have down is how to conduct the finals here, even, under some difficult technical circumstances. And Lubie's got that ready to go. Well, we have Andy and Lenny. They were our competitors today on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. And you guys both very familiar with the rules. But we have to go ahead by obligation and various legal sanctioning bodies. We have to give them to you anyway. Gurgles is going to fire off a question. Call out your name right away if you want to answer. If you want to wait for the choices, then call out your name. Whoever does that first will get first chance. We'll go back and forth until we have a winner. Good luck, gentlemen, for the Landlubber's gift certificate. And has Jack come up with the championship belt yet, Lubie? He was talking about that. He was going to make like one of those gaudy WBC
Not yet,
championship belts.
Jack
with
has
some
messed around.
jewels and like a picture, and you never know what you're going to find on those championship belts. Somebody will show you one and you open it up and there's like a picture of Bozo the Clown in there. And then you realize that was Jose Suleiman. But all right, here we go. Championship question. Dave Gurgles Gurgley for the title and the distinction of being a winner on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Here's Dave.
Good luck, guys. As we mentioned before, the Fountain of Youth is this weekend at Gulfstream, and you can bet it at Hialeah, of course, simulcast-wise. Started in 1945. In the history of the Fountain of Youth, there have only been 4 horses who later became dual classic winners, winning 2 of the 3 Triple Crown winners. Only one of those 4 won both the Derby and the Belmont. Which of the following was that?
Wow, that's
Tim
tough.
Tam, Cowie King, Spectacular Bid, or Thunder Gulch?
I'll go with Bid.
That sounds like Andy.
Andy says
he said
we couldn't understand what you said, Andy.
No, Spectacular. You won all 3.
Oh, the bid, Spectacular Bid.
Spectacular Bid.
Did not win the Belmont.
No, that's incorrect.
That's where he stumbled.
Nope,
3
that's
left for
incorrect.
Lenny. Yes.
Was it Tim Tam, Cowie King, or Thunder Gulch?
Let's go with Tam Tam.
Incorrect. 2 left for
No,
Andy.
it was Tim Tam. Even the name was wrong, but they're both wrong. That's okay. For Andy, was it Cowie King or Thunder Gulch?
Let me see. Before I start, I start a new diet: Entenmann's and blood oranges. This plenty. The reason why the cardiologist doesn't like it, but they were both Bogos at Winn-Dixie.
Hawaii King or
And your
Thunder
answer
Gulch?
is?
Yes.
I'm doing sick. Let's see. Bet on Lenny on this one. I think I'm going with Thunder Gulch.
I believe that's correct.
Thunder Gulch is the winner.
Yeah.
Yes, I think, Thunder Gulch. I think it was a Wayne Lucas train. Yep, won the Derby and the Belmont.
All right, good job there. Yeah, I remember the whole thing with Bud Delp, and the pin and Ronnie Franklin.
Ronnie Frank stepped on a safety pin.
I had a pleasure of, and thanks, guys, for playing the game. Andy's a winner, and Lenny the Chronic finishes, unfortunately, a distant second today, but he was in there with a chance, unlike some teams in the NFL overtime system. How is it that we have better rules than the National Football League can come up with to ensure the integrity of the game, Dave Gurgles Gurgley?
Well, they never had Duff Lindsay do the voiceover for it.
All right, guys. Gurgles, you have a great day. Are you out on the golf course today working it, or what's happening?
I'm at the golf course right now. I'm setting up some tournaments for the future. I've got some meetings today and some groups in-house. So Wish you guys a great rest of the week. Next week, I have a different time frame to work with. I'll text Lubie and we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds good, my friend. All right, excellent job as always.
All right.
Dave Gurgles Gurgley, ladies and gentlemen, the Miami Lakes Golf Club and the Miami Lakes Hotel, right? Is that it?
Miami Lakes Golf Club, and I don't know what the other thing was. I'm just focused on that.
That shows you how little attention we were actually paying, though, Libby, as we were trying to figure out, hey, where is everybody?
Well, no, he said Miami Lakes Golf Club. That's what I remember.
Yeah, that part we have. I think we have that down now. Yeah, no, that's a nice little course there. I used to like playing. It was, of course, known as Shula's for I guess what, as long as I've been here, and now recently, I don't know. I mean, corporations. Who knew? I guess they had to pay a fee, right, to use the Shula's name, and they said, you know what, Don's not here anymore. Is that how that worked? Oh, Lubie, what do you think?
It feels like, well, look, the name Shula still carries weight, so there must have been some. I guess the contract ran out, so they figured let's go get some new money or let's go another route. I mean, the Shula name carries weight no matter what. It never will.
Always thought of it as Shula's, yeah. So many events there over the years. They did a nice job there promoting that. Had Billy Herman there for a while. I don't know if you remember Billy Herman. And and of course, Dave Gurgles Gurgley, just fantastic. But they always infused themselves into the sporting world, as you might imagine.
Yep.
And, really had, a sports bar kind of feel to it. Good food. It was always great. Yeah, so I think they've just continued that. Not discontinued, but just continued that.
There. I mean, I'm sure they kept a lot of their staff. Like, I'll give them credit. They did this takeover, quote unquote, but that's why Gurgles tries to,
Is he grandfathered in there? I mean, he's got to be locked in there, no?
Well, no, he does a good job, and they understand that they changed the name not because it wasn't working, just because they wanted to, I guess, snazzy it up, but they realized the old way was still working. Because Gurgles talked about it like as though it's still the same thing, still the same feeling. There's no, animosity. The two groups still work together well. The Shula's family and this group. It just was time to, change things a little bit, but they also have kept a lot of it the same.
David Shula, who was kind of dissed as a coach in the NFL, and he had a career there, I guess, in the NFL as a player. Well, wasn't any overwhelming, talent. I mean, it wasn't like he was going to make you forget, any of the great tight ends that competed in the league. But well respected as a restaurateur, from my understanding, and a really good guy. Couldn't be any nicer of a guy. David Shula, who was running the Shula's restaurant organization, and I would imagine. They still have places around, right? Don't they have like Shula Burgers in the airports? And
I think there's still a company. Like I think still Shula Steakhouses exist, and the Shula Burger spots still exist. They were doing well, so I don't think they folded. I just think this one location, wanted to switch it up when it came to the golf course.
The class and the dignity of Shula Steakhouse, which I don't think exists anymore. The original one in Miami Lakes, though. Really was reflective of the kind of thing. You know how sometimes, I don't know, celebrities attach their name to restaurants and then, the place isn't all that great. And you're thinking, this isn't anything reflective of what this man stood for or whoever the person may be. But in Shula's case, right? I mean, did you ever eat at Shula's Steakhouse back in the day?
Yeah, it's great. It wasn't cheap.
The steakhouse I'm talking about. Yeah, it was a little pricey there by any of the standards of the day.
Like it was legit.
It wasn't a ripoff or anything, and they had a 5-pound lobster, which was like a big thing there. Yeah, I had many good times there, especially when I was using the freebie script we got on the trade out for advertising that we had, which I unfortunately and still to this day feel a little guilty about stiffing at Gurgles and Polymath. As they said, well, you have enough left in your account to order a coffee, so we'll bring that after your meal. Now, what do you want? That was the way that went. But I mean, the restaurant was reflective of the dignity of the man. That's what I'm trying to get to here at Shula Steakhouse.
Yes,
it really was very much like you could go in there and you could say, yeah, you know what? This is what Don Shula is all about. First class stuff.
100%.
It was absolutely fantastic. The golf course, played it many times, hacked it up. Always embarrassing when you were in. I mean, and I can't tell you how many of these shots I hit on the opening hole, which was a fairly easy hole. I mean, I would have to say the fairways are very generously appropriated there at Shula's. So, I mean, you should be able to hit the ball somewhere where your second shot isn't going to be something that you need a chainsaw to execute. And I mean, that little shrub that was just to the left of the women's tees. I can't tell you how many balls I buried in there. That is a shank that you can't even imagine, right? I mean, it's just how did the ball go from the tee? You're hitting it off a tee and into that little shrub to the left of the women's tees. Have you guys ever been there?
That's impressive. Yeah, that's impressive.
And you're looking at it like Arnie Palmer, twisting the neck and everything.
Like you hit it far, and it's right there.
And then the other guy just laughingly, they're all cracking up behind you and say, I think you lie one.
Yeah.
No, you need a machete to get out of there, and it's just like, oh my God, yeah, game on. I used to, everybody that moves to Florida that plays any kind of sports probably became obsessed with golf at one point.
Oh yeah, for a little bit, yeah, for sure.
And then you realize you suck.
Yeah, that's a problem. It's gambling. Like if you win right away, you assume it's going to be easy, and then you don't win.
Oh yeah,
like
that's a big mistake. Yeah,
early on, you always hit. You have a round where you hit like 4 or 5 straight good shots.
Yes.
You're like, oh, this isn't that hard. And the next 15 are a fucking disaster.
It was a $74 exacta hit that I split 3 ways with my 2 friends that I was with at Roosevelt Raceway that doomed me. That was it. Although, see, I can't say that this was in my DNA. If you're a degenerate, is it not part? It doesn't have to run in your family, but it is part of your, what would it be?
Yeah.
Emotional DNA? I mean, what drives you to, just a complete life of self-sabotage by spending your life gambling? And there are people, I mean, you would have to say it's the rare exception. Anybody out there in our viewing and listening audience would know that it's the rare exception. Anybody who's ahead lifetime, Lubie, come on. Ahead lifetime. I know like of 1 or 2 people, I believe.
I'd say the professor, because he's supposedly ahead either small or big every year. So
Yeah.
but he's rare. Like I would maybe Mark Lawrence, some of these people we really appreciate.
Lawrence, I mean, he had one hell of a football season, huh?
So I would think there are people, but it is rare.
Yeah.
It isn't
I
everyone.
mean, think about that. Lawrence picked up $100,000 or 50, I guess, because he was in a dead heat after
He
the
double
first
won.
quarter of the Westgate, the big handicapping tournament in Las Vegas. I don't know if he cashed after that. Sounded like he had faded a little bit into Tyson territory, Bolivian. But nonetheless, I mean, he wins the first quarter of the thing and picks up 50 dimes, right?
Yep.
Not a bad little score.
Yep.
And then on the Super Bowl, he's got the advanced wager, preseason wager on the Los Angeles Rams to win it all at 12-1.
I mean, so
he cashes that, and then he hedges off and hits against the point spread as he's getting 4 with Cincinnati, and they lose by 3.
So it wasn't even a hedge. He actually did. He got both.
Yeah, got them both. He hedged off and won them both. Incredible. The old middle situation, which you're looking for.
Yep.
And, so I don't have that kind of luck, though, Lubie. I just don't, right? I told my mother this before she passed. And I sort of regret saying this now because I might have upset her a little bit. But I said, Mom, I love you so much, but could you not have had me on a different day? So I wouldn't be betting these stupid 7-5 exactas all the time, right? Everybody Defo, did you have it, right? And then the one time it comes in, you don't have it.
Of course.
I will say this, though, to you degenerate gamblers out there, and this is a very important piece of, I think, pertinent advice. Mm-hmm. And that is, don't play other people's numbers. Right? People have little success playing other people's numbers. With Jersey Kyle, it's the 1-6, right? He plays the 6 in every race. Right? Now, he wins with that, right? He'll go swashbuckling back to the window. Look at that, 30-1 Deef. And you're like, Jesus, how is it that his numbers come in all the time and mine never do?
Yeah, but when you play 6-1, it never wins.
Never. Right? I mean, and it seems to come in more frequently. This is the bad thing about other people's numbers sometimes, is that they come in more frequently than yours. And the other guy's always on them, whereas you never are. And you finally have like a bizarre one where the 7's 30-1 and the 5 is like, whoa, look at that, 60-1. You got it, Thief? How many times? Right? You start speaking in Hebrew, right? Manishtana halayla hazeh. But I believe that to be true, people. I don't know how you feel about that. It doesn't pay. Don't try to play other people's numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your friend always plays the 1-4-10. You could play it the rest of your life. You'll never hit it. Any of that. And then there's nothing worse, too, than a guy crying about the fact that he didn't bet his numbers.
Oh, well, yeah.
I've been known to do. I can't believe it. I don't have it. I'm not one of those guys to, openly, cry about stuff like that. And there's nothing worse at the track than a guy showing he was losing tickets.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I left out the 3.
That's the most annoying thing ever. It's like, no one gives a shit. You're an idiot.
All right, we'll come back. A few things to talk about here. Congratulations, our man Jim Larinaga. That might have been. I mean, this was crucial. Did he not paint a much more treacherous picture than it turned out to be when he was on the show with us about going on the road and facing Boston College with a group of players that have been there for a while? Senior night on top of that, and you're playing on the road in the ACC. Come on, Lubie.
Yeah, no. I mean, look, Boston College and Cuse, their 2 last games. Neither is a juggernaut, but. Again, the ACC.
Boston College has a losing record.
The ACC on the road is never an automatic.
Senior night too. I mean, everybody's jazzed up a little bit, right? Here's Mo Lewis, and you're like, well, all right, Mo, 4 good years, baby. No, but that was always a big thing. I guess it really doesn't matter anymore because if you are a senior, chances are you really weren't all that great of a player, right?
You say to be a senior, you suck. Yes, you're not saying to be a senior.
They really should have freshman night, right?
Yeah, no, that
would be more appropriate.
Your last game night.
Yeah, this is it.
Can get there,
whatever it is, when you're out, that would be the way to do it. Who wants to go see these guys that are these old crippled seniors that they have on the team?
Like schminks.
Well, the other guys that were any good are all in the NBA, making like $50 million a year. Incredible. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment here. Jeff Deforrest and Michael Lubitz, the Defo Show. And then I'm not going to do it, Lubie. I'm not going to ask Oates.
What I wanted to say is
he feels like he belongs in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you can't do that.
No. I wouldn't have done what you did. But as someone who's put his foot in his mouth a lot, and then by karma's standards, we've then been faced with that person. As I had a campaign against Ryan Tannehill for years. Yes. Then we had Tannehill on. And then recently, Mac.
Oh, but you're a total wimp on this.
No, bring it up. I always bring it up. Mac Hollins, who I called a practice squad player. And then, of course, I had a one-on-one with a month ago. Yeah. What I've done, whether it's right or wrong, is I feel bad not bringing it up, but I've always been like, and I did it to Wade. Remember when Wade, I was one of those people that thought Wade was done, and then in the finals, he was a fucking monster. So in front of the world, I was like, people have said.
Oh, yeah. Way to go. Attribute to somebody else as if you
didn't. Forcing it out, but at least I bring it up. With Hollins, I admit it. I said, look, I was a little hard on you, but
what's a guy going to say? Like, I mean, if you ask John Oates, do you belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? He's going to say, you know what? I really don't, Deforrest.
No.
What a brilliant question that is. I'm so glad you asked because people suck up to me all the time because I'm a zillionaire musician.
I'd be like, people attribute a lot of the group's success to Daryl Hall. How does that make you feel? Or something of that nature. And even that's stupid. We only have 7 minutes.
That's dumb. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. But like for 7 minutes, you really can't. Like there's no room for you to throw a question.
It's not like somebody's going to see that or hear it and then offer you a job as a lead writer for Rolling Stone after you ask him that question. No, I mean, I do want to ask him, though, if the song Man Eater in any way was, inspired by one of my ex-wives. Neither of which really were a man-eater, but I don't know. I just thought, to inject a little humor in there because, I mean, if we do consider Oates to be a bit of a stiff, who knows? Maybe he's a hoot, right? Debbie Boone surprised us. We didn't know anything about her. We don't know Oates' personality. Maybe he's like a real goofball, just a guy that likes to play around. No, I mean, he made it big at a very young age. Probably has all the money you could possibly ever want. These songs, right? People are selling their portfolios now. I mean, what's Hall & Oates worth? They had like any number of hits. Come on.
Tons of hits that have been in movies and TV shows and on soundtracks. And like, I'm sure Hall & Oates did very well, and he's performing now just for the love of the game. But like I've learned doing this, we've had a lot of people on that I had preconceived notions of.
Yeah.
I thought they'd be hilarious, and then they weren't. Or
yes. I thought comedians usually fall into that category.
A lot of the time, because they have a lot of pressure on them, and then they're used to being night owls, and you have them on at 7 a.m, so it's not really fair putting them in.
Right. The coke hasn't even worn off yet.
Exactly. But like John Grisham, I'd never heard.
Grisham was great, man. Yeah.
Never. And all he wrote was like mystery thriller. So I'm like, okay, he's going to be morbid, and we'll get through it. And he was hysterical. Like, he was classic. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson, I had heard, but I'd never really heard him be funny. I'd heard him be loquacious. So when we had him on, I thought he'd be fine and we'd get through it. He went right with you, and he was really funny. Like, these people can throw you for a loop a lot of the time. So
Yeah.
I never assume anything. That's why if it's a name that we're interested in, I'm like, fuck it. Let's see.
Well, and I walked into one there too, because Did I Lose You? Of course, what was the Lion in the Firm, which was the movie adaptation of one of his books. That I told him that I thought he had me in mind when he wrote this thing, because that's a question I've had to pose to a wide assortment of women, usually after the first date or during it. Right? Did I lose you? Eh? And then he told us he didn't write that line. That was inserted in there with the creative license that was taken by whoever did the script for the movie.
That was the best. He's like, yeah, I love that line. I didn't write it.
Well, who's the guy that was selling? He was hawking some kind of garbage on TV. Will something? The actor that was in the movie there, and he was telling us a story about how he actually had
Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley, yeah, and Brimley sent him a horse to his house as a gift.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. Awesome. Yeah. No, he was great and a big Mississippi State fan, and he knew everything about Mississippi State college baseball. Yeah, big fan. Yeah, so that was John Grisham. All right, well, let's hope it goes that well with John Oates there. And I will not insult him, Lubitz.
There's no pressure for you to bring it up.
There's no reason for me to bring it up because he doesn't know that we've had this campaign going. It's just a theory. It's applicable because of all of the Hall of Fame debates that we have to have in the sportscasting business. No,
yes, that's why it comes up almost every year.
Yes, and it just happens to be my opinion that Daryl Hall could have pretty much had anybody playing next to him, and he would have been a big smash hit. Is Oates like a great guitarist? Here I go.
I just love that you can't not do it.
I mean, does he make you think Clapton as soon as you see him start strumming on that thing? No, I'm probably going to see a better guitarist tonight at the Funky Biscuit. This lovely young lady named Anna Popovic, who just kicks it out of the park with the greatest of blues and guitar players that you'll find. So better than Oates. No, is she in the Hall of Fame? No,
probably not.
Could she have sang a couple of harmonies with Daryl Hall, who was kicking it out of the park? There's our interview. What if you just accidentally morphed into that? And the next thing you know, you had a very hostile John Oates on the other end of the line. All right, that's coming up tomorrow. Actually,
yes,
we're going to have that planned. I believe podcast, so you can see how it went, and you'll see how I just fudged my way through it like the wimp that I am. But I have no animosity or hostility towards them. I like Hall & Oates. I went to their last show at the Hard Rock specifically because I thought maybe this could be the last time. No, I like their songs. They're very upbeat.
You just have said when it comes to that group, you don't understand why he gets equal billing. That was always confusion.
Well, he's second on the bill, right? I mean, it's Defo and Lubie. But then, you found a way in all of the promotional material to make it look like it was your show. I really like that about it. I respect that move. I really do.
Any of them to do anything.
Will Oates mention Daryl Hall? That'd be the good one. Will he bring up Daryl Hall on his own?
If he brings up Hall, yeah. I would wonder if he would.
Well, Daryl and I. Yeah, all right. We have that to look forward to. That's on today's agenda. And we'll come back and talk some more. Jim Larrañaga, I don't know. Did that clinch it for him? The win over BC?
I think they're
21-9 now. Fourth in the ACC.
Yeah, and they have a good ACC record. I think they should be in. I mean, unless
win over Duke, who looks like I hate to say it, Lubie.
They're great. They look great. That's annoying.
Banchero. That's all you have to say. Yeah. All right. Back with more here on the Defo Show on Ion Channel. Our thanks to Dave Gurgles. Gurgly, as always, tremendous job that he does. Don't forget about Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. We're looking forward to being down there. Have it on my list today, Lubie. Call Tommy Fox.
Please. It's been on your list all week. That list sucks.
Things are coming together. I got, a few things in the fire there with that. So hopefully we'll be down there pretty soon ourselves. I mean, and I can't wait to get down there. I mean, you talk about a staycation here in Florida. If you're a Floridian. Why are you laughing?
You read the Andy comment.
No.
Lose her job. I'll put it back up. Ask him if Hall traded you for Garfunkel. Would that turn out like Fergosi for Ryan?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Would he be like Fergosi?
Let's put it this way: I couldn't have been Oates either, right? Like people always say that. Like, when was the last time you played in the NBA? As you're screaming at some guy, "Hey, you suck, so and so." Right. Okay. So I understand different levels of performance here, but as a fan, as an observer, I just think and it's only because of Hall of Fame debates, Lubie.
I get it, 100%.
People are always debating whether a guy is meriting Hall of Fame consideration, and in my opinion, Oates would have never made it if he was, with some guy named Joe Smith. Would it be Smith and Oates? They would have said, you know what? Take a walk here, Johnny.
But a place that's always Hall of Fame.
We don't even want you in Cleveland, all right?
The Big Chill's always Hall of Fame.
Yeah. No, Big Chill is great. Jimmy Johnson's place, man. Absolutely fantastic. You guys are going to love it. Get down there, mile marker 104, the Overseas Highway. And I don't know, they may even play a little Hall & Oates with the various bands that are up there. Every now and then you might hear No Can Do or something along those lines just to keep the beat up, because the tempo there is great. The pace is absolutely fantastic. And I've never seen a place that could offer you so much excitement and just great things. And at the same time, perfect relaxation, almost as if you were under some form of natural sedation. It's just a great place to go. Great accommodations. JimmyJohnson'sBigChill.com is where you find those. Good food and drink all over the place at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, the Overseas Highway, in a beautiful spot known as Key Largo. All right, Lubie and I are coming back, and we have a lot more to do here on the program, so stick with us. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz on Ion Channel. Back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:45. Poker is your game. You're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
The great John Grisham with us here on 940 Wins, 1230 The Zone, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. I have to say, John, and you've been intertwined in my romantic failures so many times, because I can't tell you the number of occasions where I've looked into a woman's eyes and said, "Did I lose you?" And, of course, that comes from The Firm and that great scene in there with Tom Cruise. What was the inspiration for that? That was one of the great, as a movie, it was terrific, still holds up today. Tell us about the inspiration for the book, The Firm, which I believe was your first monster bestseller.
Well, first of all, it's not fair to blame me for your romantic failures. I think
No, but you come in handy there, because that's the question I always have to pose.
That's a personal problem. It's a real stretch to blame an author for that. Every time I see one of my movies, this is true. I've had 10 books adapted to film.
Wow.
8 were feature films. One was a TV documentary, The Innocent Man. One was a TV movie. The Firm was the first big movie in 1993 with Tom Cruise. It is still the highest grossing movie of all of them around the world. Firm was just a monster movie. When I watch one of my books on film, invariably 2 things happen. There's a plot twist that's really cool, and I'll say, God, I wish I'd thought of that. The screenwriter did. And there's always some dialogue that it's pretty snappy or clever or something you remember. And I'll say, well, I wish I'd written that. And when Tom Cruise says to Gene Triplehorn, "Did I lose you? Did I lose you?" I didn't write that. The screenwriter did.
That's great. Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs, thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
We can only hope the joke material goes that well with Oates on our Believe podcast later on. 7 minutes is all we have with this guy. I
Yes,
mean,
only positive.
it's not even enough time to do a good version of No Can Do, man. I mean, come on.
There you go.
That's going to be all right. So that's going to be short and
Yeah,
sweet. So
yeah.
I don't feel as uncomfortable about it as I do dodging the question, which I did. I put the blame right on Grisham for the various foibles of my love life. Which how many times did I have to ask a woman that question? You, Lubie? I mean, at least once that I know of. Did you ever get to ask that question? Did I lose you?
I asked it, and she was very clear saying yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, Shirley says it all the time, and she's still married to me.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. Yeah, well, you can be a very confusing individual, although people know where your loyalties lie, and certainly to this show, you've been more than that.
Very
so,
loyal. Loyalty's not my problem. I'm just insane.
Yeah.
It's my problem.
You are a little, on the nutsoid side. All right. Welcome back to the show. Good to have you guys with us. Having a lot of fun today. And I don't know that we accomplished anything specific, except we did crown a champion
Andy
in the
won.
Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Andy was a winner there. And, he was very much deserving of the whole thing. And then he's also a contributor on the chat line, which you can get involved in also here on the program as well. Very interesting, Lubie. I know you're going to make excuses with your Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Not being available, and that's always a strange one. You're hoping it's nothing of a negative nature when a player and Lowry doesn't strike me as the type that would go out of his way to miss games, does he? I mean, it's not like we're talking about Kyrie Irving, or you have Ben Simmons now, and nobody knows what the hell this guy's going to do with the Brooklyn Nets, which I'm assuming that's not going to go well. I don't know why I'm figuring that. What do you think, Libby? I don't know that improves him that much.
Well, like even last year, he took the playoffs off, and this year he's been a no-show. I'm sure he'll be invigorated for a few weeks, but eventually they're going to need him to do more, and he won't, and he's a head case. I mean, that is what it is.
Yeah, and you see that Harden is re-inspired now, playing with the Philadelphia 76ers, and Joel Embiid, who's many people feel, is having an MVP season. I don't know that he's going to win it. Would you take a little bit of a price on Embiid to win the MVP? He's clearly overshadowing many others, that would be in contention, maybe from the Western Conference, except for possibly, I think the favorite is Steph Curry to win the NBA MVP this year. Speaking of Degenerate Friday. I believe Steph Curry is listed as a relatively short-priced favorite, but not so overwhelming that you couldn't consider others. And I do believe that award is still up in the air to be decided. Would you not consider that?
If the Sixers can hold on as a top 3 seed, the season Embiid's put together with not really a lot of help until Harden the last 2 games. Embiid, and we like the news story. The news story is always a fun thing. So Embiid probably will win the MVP. Does he deserve it? I don't know. The fact that the Warriors were
playing great ball. I mean, he's been dominant
all year. And as much as the players have turned out to be good, no one knew who Jordan Poole was at the beginning of the fucking year. So the fact that Curry was the straw that, and even since Thompson's been back the last month, he's been up and down. He hasn't been Thompson. So a lot of that is Curry. People want the new thing, that. That's why Jordan didn't win 12 MVPs. We have to find a new story, a new thing. Giannis has been better. Giannis has been better than he was. And no one's talking about him on any level.
And Jokic, people saying that Jokic is having a better year than he did when he won the MVP last year. But, people aren't paying any attention. Because you don't see his team featured very prominently, and they haven't been overwhelmingly successful, overshadowed in the West by the Phoenix Suns, who had to play Portland last night without
rocked him.
No Devin Booker and no Chris Paul.
It didn't matter.
You know what the final was on that game? How bad are the Portland Trailblazers? They played the Portland Trailblazers. They're missing Chris Paul, which he's out, I guess, through the end of the regular season or close to it. And Devin Booker in COVID-19 protocol, or as it's known very vaguely, health protocols.
Yes.
Yes. Which means what? Herpes? I don't know. I mean, what else could it be besides COVID?
It means COVID.
What are they talking about there? Why is there a reluctance to refer to that as COVID protocols?
I don't know.
Part of the NBA.
COVID doesn't mean anything bad about you. Almost everyone in the world's gotten COVID. So like, I don't
Well,
know.
and do you have to be as concerned at this point? I mean, it seems like there's a giant relaxation all around the world about COVID concerns. And I mean, you had that incident with our governor here, let him bleed DeSantis. Who did you see that? Where he's starting a press conference at some Florida college, and the students behind him that are lined
USF.
up behind him are wearing masks, and he tells them, "Take those stupid things off."
Like, is that a guilt or a defense mechanism? Like, at this point, you don't have to wear a mask.
He's a big tough guy now, big strong arm guy.
But I don't get getting mad at someone. Why are you caring about your safety? You're an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
why would you be mad at someone who's trying to be extra safe? Like, why? That's a way. Like, are you defensive? Is he know that he should be wearing a mask? But
A little Trump macho man type of tactic here, because the guy wants to be the next president, which, for my money, would be a little bit. I mean, I don't want to use words like horrifying, but and people, I don't know, people like this guy. It's amazing. He got elected governor in the state of Florida, which shows you that, as we have implied all along, much like we have contended that John Oates doesn't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but he wouldn't be there without Daryl Hall. This is a cracker state still.
100%.
When it comes to the overall thinking and very much in the Puritan mode. All right, we're going to have our Degenerate Friday tomorrow. It'll be a lot of fun. The professor going to be with us. He's got another big board coming up, I believe. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet. Always a lot of fun having Mike on the show. He'll be zeroed in a very serious nature about the big race coming up at Gulfstream Park, Fountain of Youth, one of the early indicators of 3-year-old supremacy and possibilities for the Kentucky Derby. You heard Gurgle's question earlier. There have been several Fountain of Youth competitors that have gone on to fame in the Triple Crown Series. Maybe not winning it, but certainly a factor, big factors in the Derby, Preakness, and later on the Belmont Stakes down the line, the Travers, and all of those great races that take place for the 3-year-olds coming up here in 2022. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 in the morning with the Degenerate Friday edition of the Defo Show. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, a lot of fun being with you today. Our thanks to Dave for conducting the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. I'm Jeff Deforrest, and for Jack and all the people, Amy, Brad at Ion Channel, we thank them for having us on and allowing us to distribute all of this stuff all throughout the world with both audio and video. Google the Defo Show and tell your friends about it. And we'll see you tomorrow at 7 with a Degenerate Friday as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 8:56.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.